Hello and welcome. My name is MiniBetrayal and this is Dyson Sphere Program. So today we're going to start off the episode by doing as I said I would in the previous episode, and we're going to rename our innermost power planet. It's currently called Othala 1. Remember, Othala is the home system of the Asgard in Stargate. We're renaming it to Icarus, which I think is a nice name, so thank you for that suggestion. Flew too close to the sun, but you know, this one's hopefully not too close. Anything a little bit closer would be nice, because then the solar panels would work better. But yes, we're going to basically spend the first bit of this episode jumping backwards and forwards between our planets in the home system here of Othala. So coming back to first landing straight up, and it takes me a bit of time just figuring out exactly what I want to do this episode, because our power planet is set up now. It's doing its thing. It'll take a little bit of time for it to properly get going, and I did also, as I said I would, expand the power production on the equatorial belt. It now has some wind turbines spaced out through it and more solar panels, getting about, I think it's about 800 megawatts from it now, which isn't bad. So yeah, just looking at the tech queue, what I've decided we're going to work to today is purple science cubes. So this is what we need. We need processors and these particle broadband thingies, fiber optics. They in turn need the carbon nanotubes. So very good fiber optics. Or very bad, I suppose. I don't think carbon transmits light very well. But anyway, so that's what we need to work on today. But I figure, well, we've got some interplanetary logistics now, so instead of having to ferry the titanium backwards and forwards between First Landing and Anaqua, which is where we're heading to now, why don't I actually get some interplanetary logistics set up? And we've got all the stuff now. I will actually need to make the things, but all of that's being mass produced, so in theory all I need to do is head over to Anaqua, pick up the things, make the towers, make the ships, and set it up to go. So that's what we are doing, heading over to the area where we're making all the stuff. Now we happen to get here at a time when the power is off. I think about now we've got about 400 of the accumulators in the system. So it's still not enough to keep it going all the time, because apparently the round trip for it to head over to Icarus, charge up and head back, is still a little bit longer than it takes to discharge 200 here. But it's running somewhere between a quarter and a third of the time. Sorry, 3/4 and 2/3 of the time. Okay, so picked up some stuff there. Heading back to First Landing now. Now I happen to look away from the screen there, but yeah, we are making some logistics vessels. There we go. So I actually missed if I started the craft of anything. But yeah, so making some logistics vessels. I think I've already made the towers. If not, they will be in the list as well. So we need 3 towers in total, because we've got 2 places. There we go. There's making the towers. I ran out of the titanium alloy. So 1 tower will go here to receive titanium. We've got somewhere else on this planet that also needs titanium. The other one goes towards science. And then we'll need a tower actually on Anaqua where we can load the titanium in to get it shipped out here. And then 30 vessels, just to make sure that everything has all of the vessels it needs. It's way overkill at this point, but why not? It's not that expensive in the long run. And if you remember a couple of episodes ago, or might have been just the last episode actually, on my way to Icarus to set up the logistics tower there, my inventory was full, so I accidentally lost a couple of logistics vessels. So I've made a couple extra, just popped them into the tower there. So now the tower on the North Pole of Icarus has the full number of vessels that we need. So good job there. Okay, heading back to Anaqua now, with the actual towers. Yeah, so I must admit, even with the sped up footage here, it's taking a little bit more time than I would like to get from one place to another, so hopefully it won't be too long before we can get some warpers. In fact, while I was looking at the science earlier on in the episode, I did start looking at the green science, which is what we need to get the warpers, but actually, do we need the green science for warpers, or is it just one of the steps along the way? I'm not sure. I know we can turn green science into warpers, if nothing else. But yeah, we need the purple science first anyway. Okay, but yeah, setting up our first tower here. A little bit of jiggery-pokery with the belts, just to kind of balance input and output here. So we've got two sides of that little tower of storages as input, two sides as output, and then we run out of power, of course. Setting up the tower itself to remote supply of titanium. So that will supply titanium wherever it's requested that is not on this planet. Okay, so now we've done that. Back over to first landing, where we should set up the receiving towers. Got just enough time for a sip of my tea while we wait for the journey to finish. And there we go, landing pretty close to where we actually need to be. So that's the tower. Of course, it's actually full of titanium at the moment, so I need to put down another chest and just temporarily store the titanium there while I figure out where this tower is going to go. There's just enough space to squeeze it in there. I find myself kind of regretting squeezing it in such a tight space, and you'll probably see why later. But we set up a remote demand for titanium. Now at this point, I'm not actually sure why no titanium was showing up. It does start working later in the episode, but I expected it to start straight away. Maybe there just wasn't enough titanium in the supply tower, I don't know. But then over at the science bit, where we're turning titanium into titanium crystals for the yellow science, I want to say? Yeah, yellow science. We set up another tower, it's a similar request there, and pinch some hydrogen fuel rods while we're at it. Back over to Anaqua again. Like I said, there's a lot of travel backwards and forwards in this episode, particularly in the first part of this episode. And when we get there, we've got a little bit more to do in terms of setting things up. I'm primarily going over there just to make sure that the titanium is actually working. I think, actually now just thinking about it, I think it was a power thing, because at that time the planet had no power. The sorters pulling out of that little titanium storage tower, they weren't working, so I probably just didn't have the necessary 200 in the logistics tower itself. Okay, so now looking towards what I need for purple science. So there's a few things I'll need. Now we need the processors, amongst other things. So this is the first time I've tried something like this. I'm pulling out of my processor storage there on the second level, which means that the first level, like the bottom floor, if you like, of the storage tower, acts as a buffer, and only when that's full will processors start getting put in the top level. So that kind of acts like a priority splitter in a way between a storage and just sending the rest into the tower, into the logistics tower, where we can send it back to first landing to get turned into purple science. We also need the silicon crystals, so setting up a splitter there with priority to keep going towards the accumulators, and the belt will come over here and go into the logistics tower. And we'll set both of these up for local storage, so once they're in there they don't go out on this planet, but remote supply. Okay, I think that's everything done on this planet. I don't remember, just having a quick check. Yeah, we need the graphene, but graphene is made of graphite and something. And titanium, maybe? I'm sure we'll see the recipe in a moment. I do a little thing there with the belts that turns out not to help anyway, and then we head back once more to first landing, where we can start gearing up to get some purple science. Okay, so I'm going to go for a similar kind of thing as I did with the other 3 sciences we've done so far. I'm going for 1 purple science per second. They are made in 10 seconds. I have a feeling I may have vastly miscalculated some stuff, actually. I'm going to have a look at this when I go back. But I guess we'll see. So, what I'm doing here is I'm sending the graphite, I think, into the tower. Because the graphite is itself requested on an aqua. Now, I don't think I get around to setting up the request for it on the other end, but this will mean I don't have to ferry graphite over to an aqua to keep stuff being done. And the similar thing with the titanium alloy. So at some point we can head back to an aqua and set up a request for those things, and I won't have to ferry them over anymore. Now here we go. The carbon nanotubes, or is that what they're actually called? They are carbon nanotubes. I forget what they're actually called in this game now. I'm having a bit of a mind fart. But yes, so we'll have some titanium. Yeah, titanium comes out, gets merged with graphene, and that's how we make the nanotubes. Yeah. Okay, so I'll have to double check if we are actually working to 1 per second here. I do not remember. I have a feeling we might only be working to 1 every 10 seconds. Yeah, because I actually don't have to do a lot of production here. Or at least, I don't have to. I don't do a lot of production. I will double check that in the next episode. But yeah, so we've got the graphene now. Sorry, we've got the circular graphene, the nanotubes. Yeah, they are called nanotubes in this game. And we need to merge that with plastic and the silicon crystals. So we're not making plastic anywhere nearby, but we have all the stuff we need for plastic. So yeah, just pulling out the crystals there, or trying to pull the crystals out there. It's taking a little bit of time to figure out how to get them out. I forget how I do it in the end. Is there just enough space to squeeze out some crystals there and send them over to where they're needed. Then by fiddling around with some sorter positions here, you can also get some oil over there. So plastic is made from oil and graphite. Graphite we already have in the area, that's what's being turned into the graphene. So if we can get some oil over there, we can also make some of the plastic that we need. In theory, we can make all of the plastic that we need. So we've got plastic, we've got silicon crystals, and we've got keep calling it graphene again. We've got plastic, we've got silicon crystals, we have carbon nanotubes. All of that can be put together to make one of the particle broadbands. I think that's what that one goes to anyway. Particle broadbands, yeah, and then a particle broadband is mixed with a processor, which we have in the logistics system now, remember? That is what is turned into the purple science. Okay, so got some plastic over here. Do I really want to set up one machine? That seems like it's not going to be enough. Yeah, I'm definitely not doing enough production here. Yeah, so we've got, what's that there? We've got the crystals and the nanotubes on the left there, and then on the right we've got the plastic coming in. Setting everything up, that will make our particle broadband. And then the particle broadband I think I put into a planetary logistics. Because we need to get all of this over to the science area, which is pretty much on the other side of the planet, because of course it is. It's always on the other side of the planet when you build something. So we're going to request the processors in from the same interplanetary tower, well technically interstellar tower, but we're only using it interplanetary. Now this one here is a normal tower. This one can only have 3 slots, only go on the same planet, and we're going to put the broadband in there. Now it flashed by pretty quickly, but when I set up the request for processors, I set up remote demand, so it will demand them in, but then local supply. I didn't set it to local storage. So if I get some ordinary logistics drones in there, they can then ferry them around the planet from that tower which is just collecting and storing them from an aqua, to where they're needed by the science. So the processors will go from an aqua to the interplanetary logistics to the planetary logistics where it's needed. Okay, so we can see a couple of them coming in there. I need to pinch a few of them to make some more of the logistics drones. That's fine. We'll get them coming in. Probably not as fast as I need them, but I'm not building anything to the right scale anyway, apparently. Now, me being me, I want to fill up all of the towers with their full complement of drones, which is 50 in each of them. So, with 50 in the tower by the science, 50 in the tower by the particle broadband, and 50 in the interplanetary tower. We need 150 in total, and that takes quite a bit of time to craft. So getting started on that. Then figuring out how I'm going to get these into the science machines. So with a little bit of shifting around, I just move the yellow over a bit and use a Mark II sorter to plug that in now, because I don't have space for two sorters doing it like that. I want the sorter to go twice as fast. And we need to make 10 of the labs themselves. They're made every 10 seconds. I'm going for 1 per second, so I need 10 machines. This is the one bit I did actually get correct in this. Okay, and then, so we've got the 2 inputs on the top there. The outputs will come out onto the bottom, the purple science, where they'll go into the buffer chest and then into the labs. Here's my other planetary station, setting up requests, or demands rather, for the particle broadband and the processors, powering it up, and then popping in the drones, or at least waiting until the drones are finished before we pop them in. Now, I had hoped to actually unlock the purple science this episode, but we ran out of time. We're still researching the purple science cubes themselves. That's what's in the top left corner. So even though I can put down the labs to make the purple science, which I do in about 3 seconds. 1, 2, 2.5, 3. There we go. So yeah, but for now I just have to leave them unconfigured. So I set down 10 of those, make sure everything is powered, and as soon as we've unlocked the purple cube, we can set those up and we'll have purple science ready. Okay, so I have to recraft the rest of those 150 drones. I think we've got 100 left to go. 50 of them will go into this one, which I might have just done actually. And then, oh no, it's 50 into each of these two. So 50 into the planetary one on the left, 50 into the interstellar one on the right. Now, I'm going to speed the game up a little bit more here. So, the rest of this episode is me just standing here waiting for these to craft, which is a little bit boring. But, while we're waiting for this to happen, I have a little bit of an announcement to make. So, if you are following this series along as they are released, this weekend, Saturday the... let me double check this actually. Saturday the 20-something, Saturday the 24th of April 2021 is Ludum Dare 48. If you've been following my channel for the last 6 and a bit months, if not more, in August, I think? No, October. October sounds right. August or October. Second half of last year, I took part in Ludum Dare 47. If you're not aware, Ludum Dare is a game jam where participants have 48 hours to make a computer game from scratch. That's all code, all graphics, all music, all art, all assets, everything like that. Participated last time. The game is available to play on my otherwise quite empty itch.io page, link in the description if I remember to put it there. But yes, I'm participating again, so my local time, it will be 11 AM, depending how much editing work I'm willing to put into this. Various local times will appear on the screen now. So I will be streaming my work over on Twitch, twitch.tv/MiniBetrayal, also link in the description. So come along at any time during the weekend, come and say hi, come and see my take on how to make a game and how to make it potentially interesting, and you might learn some programming stuff along the way, maybe, I don't know, whatever floats your boat, I guess. So yes, this weekend, pretty much the whole time I'll either be asleep or streaming, so come along, say hi, and that sentence was going to end better than it started, but it didn't. But yes, so we've finished the drones now, so popped them in. That is about it for this episode, so I'm going to leave it there. I will say thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again soon.